It is one of the most storied traditions in college football. For nearly 30 years, the Scarlet and Cream have entered the stadium through the tunnel walk. And today, for the first time in his first year, Matt Rhule makes the walk. It is one of those goosebump moments in college football. Nebraska's tunnel walk, and a chilly afternoon does not prevent 60,000 plus for being on hand here at Nebraska's annual red-white scrimmage. And hello once again, I'm Larry Putney, along with former Nebraska standout lineman and NFL lineman Jeremiah Searles. Megan McHugh will be joining us momentarily. Great to have you with us for the annual red-white scrimmage. And I guess the good news this year about the scrimmage is we got actual football.
Absolutely. Coach Rhule talked about it. He wants to see these guys execute and perform real football situations, first quarter, second quarter, all the way through. He talked about it last year. That cost us games, right? So he wants to see these guys come out and play a full football game, which means we're in for a treat.
Yeah, it's one of the things that Matt Rhule really focused on. He said we were in so many games last year. It came down to the details. It came down to those critical situational moments, and how do we put our players in those moments in front of a crowd?
The only way to do it is by practice. So you practice it on time, you make sure that you do it over and over again, and then it translates from spring into the fall.
There is Matt Rhule. Frank Solich is in the house as well. We'll have more with him later in the broadcast. Spring game coming your way from Lincoln. From Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, it's the annual red-white scrimmage here at Memorial Stadium. Megan McHugh to start us off down to the field with the coach.
Coach Rhule, you talked about how excited you were to experience the tradition of Nebraska football. How did your first walk in the tunnel live up to the hype?
That was amazing, seeing all those little kids there, how much they're excited to be see a Cornhusker football game. The last 24 hours have been surreal, hanging out with Coach Solich, Tom Osborne, Heisman Trophy winners, and then this for our players is amazing.
It's also amazing that fans are going to be able to see some live action here. What are you looking to get out of this spring game with your players?
Yeah, I think this is so important for our guys. We're going to play it just like a game. We need to see how we can handle the situations in a game, and everything from how we dress to the penalties to everything. This is a great dry run for the fall.
Looking forward to it, Coach. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Coach Rhule. Thank you, Megan. We're ready for football. And hey, here's our first kind of adjustment. You saw that he was going to experiment with some things. This is a look at the XFL kickoff, where the only two people who can move prior to the receiving of the ball is the kicker, who just kicked it, and the person who receives the ball at the 14-yard line, coming up the far side. So that's a little bit different spin, an XFL kickoff.
Yeah, you know, it's all about player safety and making sure those guys, I think Coach Rhule likes the way the XFL does it. I think the NFL will look at it too, and we'll get a first look at it here today.
So here are our spring game rules. We'll run it just like football, 15-minute quarters, NFL timing, so the clock will run even on first downs. They split up the two teams. It'll be the one offense versus the one defense. So the one offense consists of the white offense, and the one defense is wearing the red jerseys. Our first quarterback in there is the transfer out of Georgia Tech, Jeff Sims, into the portal. Nebraska picked him up, and they go up the middle right away to the fullback. And there is a nod to Frank Solich, the fullback first play.
Oh, the offensive line in me is just loving that, using a fullback off the rib. Coach Rhule talked about bringing a fullback back into this offense a little bit. So, you know, we're going to see a little bit of everything today. I love that Coach Rhule's also just right in there spotting the ball. Look at him. He's just in the thick of it. Something else to note, the gray jerseys the offensive linemen are wearing today, gray, the color gray means that they're going to play both sides. So, you know, any positions that we're a little limited on, or any positions that we're going to have to flip back and forth, that's what the gray's.
And look at the football going to Frank Solich Old number 45, the Husker fullback, who the story is, in order to show the coach he was heavy enough to play football, he wore ankle weights for his weigh-in.
That's incredible. It's such a great thing. You'll see 45 painted there on the lines to the 45-yard line to honor Coach Frank there. It's in a great moment, him and Alberts.
So Bonner had the first carry from the fullback. Nice gain on first down as well. Second and third. This quarterback room for the Huskers with Jeff Sims out there now is deep. A total of 6 scholarship QBs. You see the carry up the middle. That's Gabe Irvin Jr. with the carry.
You know, he's a running back that, you know, he's started as a true freshman, one of the first true freshmen to ever start at running back for the Huskers. Got limited there his first year with an injury, still kind of getting back, but there's a lot of praise coming out of camp with him and what he could be for this team.
8 games last season, started 2 of Nebraska's first 4 as a freshman. Here is Ramir Johnson, the other running back in there that Nebraska is high on. They'll fake the give. Sims will keep it. Drugged down from behind on a nice play, and that's that 3-3-5 that we're going to see out of this Nebraska defense that tries to confuse the offense, come from all directions.
Absolutely. The other piece, quarterbacks are live. Quarterbacks are live. That's something we're not used to seeing in spring games. Matt Rhule touched on it. He wants to see these guys be live, how they react to it. Ball security is a huge piece of playing the quarterback position. Got to take care of the football.
Last play made by Prince Will. Uman Mielen. That's the, just call him Prince Will for the rest of the day. How's that?
Prince will be known as his name.
Snap, false start, offense, number 12, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
These are things that you got to make sure that you clean up, right? These are what spring football is about. You got to have the pre-snap penalties, the unforced errors, as they're called. You can't have those, but this is something where there's pregame jitters. It's the first time these guys are playing in front of fans, to be expected. But Coach Rhule made a point of emphasis to make sure that that is not something that becomes an issue for this Husker team.
So 11 personnel here for Nebraska. Sims out of the gun, will drop back on second and long over the middle. Got a man wide open on the crossing. Great catch by Bo Kircher, and a first down on Nebraska's first big gain.
It's a beautiful play here. You can see the play action a little bit here. He gives the nod, gets it to his read over the middle, right behind the linebackers there, right up the safety, right up the seam. You know, the tight end room is a position of strength on this offense. Borkacher's got a tight end that's on scholarship. You got Fedoni. You've got a few guys in that room that are really playing for that #1 tight end spot in the fall.
And Jeff Sims trying to nab the lead in that quarterback race early on. Great size, 6'4", 220. You saw the arm. True dual threat quarterback who rushed for over 1,100 yards last year. He'll go up top again. Looking down here to the corner. Just overthrows his intended receiver. That was Hardy, Sean Hardy.
Sims is a guy that's really going to be in the battle for quarterback 1. I mean, he has the ability there. You see it. He had 4,400 yards passing last year, over 1,100 rushing. I mean, he's a true dual threat. Coach Rhule talked about he wants a quarterback that can threaten with his legs to make those plays on third down, to make those scramble plays and create. And Jeff Sims brings that ability from the quarterback position.
Here is the give to Irvin Jr. near side. Not much there as the defense.
So far from this defensive line, I'm seeing some good push from these guys. You know, they're lining up in 3 down, they're lining up in 4 down. You know, we talk a lot about the 3-3-5 being, you know, just true 3 down, but that's not the case. That's just the base. They're going to bring a 4D line. They're going to bring a linebacker hybrid off the edge. You know, we talk about some of these guys that are going to be impacted. A.J. Rollins, a guy that reached over number 86 over there. He's playing defensive end now. Position change guy that Matt Rhule brought. So now you see some more of the structure of the 4 down front, but it's still a 3-3-5. You have the ability to bring a bunch of pressures here too. Cross dog. Fumble.
Little bobble of the snap. Sims picks it up under pressure, and he'll be drugged down for a loss.
There he is, A.J. Rollins.
A.J. Rollins on the play.
As you can see too, from the word go, this defense is coming. There's been blitzes all over the place. They run a cross dog here. You see the true cross. Number 10, Jamari Butler, comes around the edge here. Then you see Sims bobbles a snap, but he can create, right? He's one step away here from being able to go through. Well, this is going to be in a very aggressive defense, I think.
So Timmy Bleekrode in there to kick. Bleekrode last year was 9 of 12 on field goals, including a stretch of 7 consecutive. This will be a 49-yard attempt. Wind at his back. is up, and Bleak Road got it. Plenty to go, plenty of room.
Hey, that's a sigh of relief for Husker fans here in the stadium with the kicking adventures that we've had over the last few years. If we can get some consistency at that position, we'll have the ability. Nice, good snap, good hold, good through. Nice and in. Helps having the wind at your back, that's for sure. The wind coming out of the north here, pretty good. But that's a beautiful process. And again, execution, right? Getting your 11 guys on the field on your first team, getting your 11 guys on, and just snap, hold, kick.
Where else in 40-degree weather would you get 60,000 plus in here for a spring practice?
Larry, you know, if they open every practice, there'd be 60,000 people for every single practice. So here's a look at the XFL kickoff again, right? This is something, I've been watching the XFL this year. It just is big, again, on player safety, eliminating those high-speed collisions that you can have there. And also it gives these guys something else to work on. It gives you a way that you have to block in space. You have to move your feet in space. So it's really going to be interesting to see how these guys approach this and how just to see how you can get after it and how the returner tries to. That's what you don't want. Don't want the substitution, the late substitution errors either.
See just 5 yards away, and again, no one moves until that ball is received. Kick from the 35 by Bushimi. Right out of the end zone.
Good coverage. Really good coverage. You can tell the aggressive approach there, right? He's back 4 or 5 yards in the end zone. There was no fair catch. There was no taking a knee. I think Coach Rhule wants the special teams unit to be special. Be able to make a difference in the game, be able to make a difference in flipping the field, being able to have explosive returns, something to set the offense up that they don't have to go 80 or 85 yards every single time. Make it a short field, get it to the 50.
And when they ran this in practice, Coach Rhule said the first couple of times they tried it, it went for a touchdown. So they're probably not afraid to take everyone out right now.
Absolutely, and guess what? Everyone wants to be the returner.
So our first look now at the red offense. Chubba Purdy in there at quarterback. Purdy out into the flat.
Chubba Purdy, a guy last year that played a lot of snaps. Casey Thompson, when he came in, he had to come in. He had a really nice drive against Michigan to go out there. He's a guy that transferred in from Florida State, part of with that transfer quarterback room with Casey Thompson, and crowded quarterback room. He's going to be a guy that's really fighting for the number 1, number 2. There's really no true starter for the quarterback right now.
Redshirt freshman A.J. Allen in there running back with that first catch, and then the gain out past the 35 to about the 38.
You're going to see some young O-linemen on this front here. You know, you have Evan Jenkins in there at center. You have the young freshman and Gunner over there at 77 in the left tackle spot. You know, so this is the guys that you're trying to build depth with, right? You have the wide offense is going to be your starters, but it's a war of attrition in the Big Ten. You can't just have 5 or 6 starting offensive caliber players, especially up front. You got to go into the season with 9 or 10.
It's been a war of attrition through the spring for that offensive line. Really just 12 available for both sides of the football, which is why you see them wearing those gray jerseys. Pulled out, flip out into the flat by Purdy. Incomplete. Intended receiver was John Goodwin.
We're seeing a little bit of the run pass option here early on, right? He has the ability to hand this football. He has the ability to throw this football. So again, you're just starting to get a peek at what this offense with Satterfield's going to look like, right? You're going to see a lot of quick hitting plays, a lot of getting your ball into the playmakers' hands and seeing what they can do. Because at the end of the day, those guys are going to get the chance to make one guy miss and go, which really means those receivers got to be on blocking outside because you just never know where the ball can go in this offense.
Fleeks motions across. 2nd down and 10. Good little move in the backfield, step out of it.
Another run blitz there, cross dog, 2 inside linebackers crossing there in the A gap and the B gap, trying to create havoc, which allows it to cut back to the unblocked player. Really nice scheme there. That's going to look like kind of their run blitz that they have. Again, you got big fellas up there. You got number 97. Double mug.
Emma Johnson in the backfield along with Purdy, who will drop back on 3rd and 9. Boy, had a man into the hands of Gilbert and dropped. Gilbert, the transfer into the portal out of Georgia, also played at LSU.
He is big. I was next to Gilbert at practice the other night, and he is all of 275, 280. You know, we're waiting on the waiver to make sure he can play, but man, you start talking about going 12 personnel with the ability of Thomas Fedoni and Eric there. I mean, you could have big size and speed stretching the field, and defenses hate going against 12 personnel.
So Brian Buschini now in there to punt it away. Billy Kemp is back deep. Kemp with the fair catch, taken to the 25. It has been an interesting first 168 days for Matt Rhule. He talked about it earlier with Megan McEwen, how interesting it is to come to Nebraska and be around Frank Solich, Tom Osborne, the governor, and earlier this week heard from Eric Crouch.
Coach mentioned all those awards and accolades and all that stuff, but it didn't happen without the team. So it wasn't anything that I did, it was about what the team did. And I just want to make sure that you guys understand that. Relationships with each one of you guys, each other, being leaders. I think that's the biggest thing I want to say today is encourage you guys to lead no matter what position you're in. You don't have to be a quarterback. You don't have to be one of the star players. Everybody's got the opportunity to lead and bring the team together. I'm looking forward to seeing what this team does, what this program does, what the coaching staff does. I think everybody's looking at you guys, but everybody's got your back. Stay positive no matter what. Start approaching life like you approach football. You know, that's what I learned from Nebraska when I got out of here. It wasn't just about football, it was about the game of life. Go kick some butt today, get better.
Heisman Trophy winner from the early 2000s, Eric Crouch, speaking to the team earlier this week. And it has been one of the blessings. He said, you know, Coach Rhule said, when you're at Nebraska, you know you're at Nebraska when all of a sudden Eric Crouch, Tom Osborne, Frank Solich start showing up in your practice.
I mean, he almost was kind of saying it in awe of just how much he respects this place. I mean, he talked about growing up and watching. He said he's a college football junkie. You know, so he watched college football forever, and he talks about just the tradition and the people that come in, and then he talked about like the governor came to practice.
That's right.
He just loves the fact that there's so much support for this team behind this state, and just how much they really rally to this team and just want to have so much success for him and his program.
Bonner's in there again at fullback. In front of Gabe Irvin Jr. Sims at quarterback. There's an old look out of the I formation. Irvin. Nice job up front by that defensive line led by Nash Hutmaker.
The best play in football, lead ISO weak. You got the fullback climbing up there on 19, going away from the strength of the formation and just seeing who can win their one-on-one matchups there. That's a big block there by left tackle Turner Corcoran, trying to stretch the hole in there. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Personnel problems.
These are the things that they have been working through the entire spring, and they've been very candid about there's still a lot of cleanup to do here as they go live as in game. Sims over the middle, wide open. There's Washington with the grab.
Billy Kemp, I think that's
Billy Kemp, you're right.
That's Billy Kemp, yep. So they go full max protection here. This is really a three-man route. You can see they do the play action. They keep the tight ends in on the backside to block it, get those linebackers a bite. Billy Kemp's a guy that they talked about really made an impact, being that slot receiver, being shifty, kind of a Cole Beasley type in the NFL. Really was able to get open there and delivered a nice ball by Sims. Thomas Fedoni in there. Really first look at a chance to see Fedoni in there, number 24 lining up at tight end. Really Husker fans have been excited to get to see him and see what he can do.
Top of your screen is Fedoni. Go the other way, there's Kemp again. Nice grab. Slips through one tackle, and there is the shiftiness that we have seen throughout the spring from Billy Kemp.
Yeah, again, it starts with the protection up front. There's no one there, but you see Kemp here. Get the quick in there. This is that RPO again. He pulls it. Kemp is able to create space there. And then you can see the yards after catch ability here. He has the shifty, the shakiness. You know, that's the kind of guys, no lineman, you want to run down and try and push the pile or peel a guy off because he can make one guy miss, and he's got the speed to go the distance.
Another good drive of the works here by this number one offense, led by Jeff Sims. In the backfield, there is Anthony Grant. First look at Grant, who had a big opening, another first down, a gain of 12.
So far, a lot of motions. You got some pre-snap motion here. You've got guys coming back across the ball. I love it. You're keeping the defense on their heels, not getting them a chance to figure out where the ball is going to be coming from, and you're going to go. And that just helps with pre-snap motion for the quarterbacks to understand if it's man-zone coverage. It helps the offensive line understand where their people are going to be positioned at the snap of the ball. And really, it creates chances to have creases and gaps and for those running backs to hit.
Give to Grant again.
Nowhere to go.
Well, good pressure there. Garrett Snodgrass, the junior out of York, Nebraska, was there for the play.
He's a guy that's played some good football for us the last few years, you know, and with Henrich not being in, Reimer being limited throughout the spring, you're getting a lot of these guys to be able to get out there and prove and start earning playing time. Snodgrass is a guy that he's kind of a commander of that defense, right? He's very cerebral. He's very good at identifying. He's very good at getting everyone lined up. You know, and I expect him to be a guy that can pressure too, athletic guy that can run. So you might see him in blitz packages as well as dropping back into coverage.
Back to throw again, but under pressure. Great spin out of the pressure by Sims. Far sideline for no gain, but avoids the sack.
Good move there by Cameron Lighthouse there coming over off the left tackle. He just dips and rips, bends off the outside. Can't quite finish, but again, it allows him to get him off his spot and have to scramble. And you only give up a couple downs here. Now pushes him on a 3rd and long. This is situational football, right? 3rd and long, high red. Are you going for points here? Are you going to play safe, go for the field goal? Or are you going to try and push it down the field, get a first down? We're going to kind of look at Rhule's philosophy here in the high red.
You know, this red defense right now, you have Uman Mielen in there along with Linhart. Those are two true freshmen who have received high praise from the coaching staff. And you saw Linhart right there. On 3rd down, a short gain on the completion. There is the defensive coordinator for Nebraska, Tony White. Also the associate head coach, former linebacker at UCLA.
He had so much energy on our call earlier this week, and just how excited he was to be a part of this tradition, a part of this team, but really just how excited he was about how the strides that this defense had taken throughout the spring. He's thrown a lot at him. He's thrown a lot for them to come and be able to blitz and be able to put coverages. But the number one thing that Tony kept talking about was he wants his players to play free. He wants them to be able to play free and get after the players and just go make plays.
Pankratz in there to try the field goal, and he got it. That's Spencer Pankratz.
2 for 2 on the field goal so far. You know, I'm sure Coach Rhule would like to see 7 there, but again, very easy operation here. You want him to have good snap, good hold, gets the laces out. Nice follow through. We need those points. Those points in Big Ten games are tough. I mean, we're in a November type atmosphere here weather-wise. Wind coming, it's pretty chilly. You know, points come at a premium, especially late in the fall. So being able to find, again, the kicker competition, but also being able to just get points when you get down into the red zone is huge.
With Bleekrode and Pankratz now 1 for 1 in field goals here in the spring game. 6-0 for the number 1 offense, playing against that number 1 red defense. Well, look at that. It is a chilly one here today. It may say 44 on the temp gauge, but with this 20-mile-an-hour wind, it's probably feels like, I'm sure Megan McCune would tell us down the field, but probably it feels like around 32, 34, somewhere in there.
I mean, it just goes to show, and we can say it every time, the Nebraska faithful show up every single time, no matter what, to support this team. And they just love the chance to come out and watch their Huskers play.
How about that pop from Deshaun Singleton? Wow. Big hit by Singleton.
See him shed the player here, come through and just follow through. And that's a big point of emphasis on special teams, is tackling, right? Tackling these guys in open space. And it's something that special teams coordinator Ed Foley's been talking about all spring, is he's got to make sure you got tackle, wrap up, not diving, I mean, driving through contact. And that was a perfect executed tackle right there.
If you even look back a year ago, Jeremiah, and you look at the Nebraska, not good at special teams. If we listen to the call.
Offside, kicking team. The penalties decline. It's 1st and 10.
In fact, in terms of special team efficiency, Nebraska 128 of 131. Wow.
No, not only are special teams there, but special teams are tone setters for your defense coming out on the field, right? You come off a big hit on special teams, it just fires this defense up.
Ball on the ground. We'll see if that's a turnover, and it is.
It is our first
turnover of the game.
The ruling on the field is a fumble.
Got to make sure ball security is a huge
First
piece,
down.
especially coming out right away. You give this offense now a short field. That's something you just can't do. Taking a look at it here. Got a chance here, comes in. That's a really nice play there by the linebacker to just come and punch that ball
The
out.
ruling of a fumble recovered by the defense is under review.
So they will take another look to see if Allen was down on the recovery by Wallen. The Big Ten Conference is working on a new replay system, and this is being used as a full walkthrough of that command center, which is, you know, with the SEC. And
oh, that's a fumble. Wallen comes through and just absolutely punches the football right out of him. He's got it in his right hand. Comes through, that ball is cleanly out. That's something as a young back. Again, Allen not to take care of the football. You know, he's been out. He got hurt last year. Didn't have a ton of snaps towards the end of the year. He's been live in spring, but it's just different. It gets ratcheted up another notch here when fans are involved. The speed of the game definitely goes up.
So it was confirmed, and we have a new quarterback in the game now. Here is Harburg in there at quarterback. He'll keep on the run on the left side. Breaks the tackle, still on his feet. All the way inside the 5-yard line, and a great carry by Harburg.
Harburg is a guy Rhule was talking about when they did the Husker Olympics earlier. They were able to go and see how athletic he was. You see here the option play, runs around the guy, the stiff arm there. He's a guy that reminds me of Taysom Hill, a Taysom Hill type that you can bring in. He's really developing as a passer, but he's just a pure athlete that can do some special things with the ball.
You know, it's interesting you say developing as a passer. If you think about his high school career, he was known almost strictly as a passer, right? Out of Kearney Catholic, and Kearney had a great high school career. And now they have called his running ability his superpower. As you see on the delay there, that's going nowhere.
Great blitz, great play call there in the defense. Again, you're seeing that aggressive nature of what Tony White wants to do. Especially you get down here, you have a motion going back across the other way. They send pressure off the weak side. Take a look at the defense here. You got the pressure coming. 12's the unblocked player.
Omar Brown.
Unblocked player. Omar Brown comes off the edge there and just makes a really clean tackle. Nowhere to go with the ball. That's 7 guys into the 8 or 6 to 7 guys that are in the pressure there. That's hard to block. That makes it where you got to decide, do you go big here and run it, or you got to throw the ball if they're going to send pressure like that.
Out of the eye.
Oh, good hold.
In the backfield, breaks one tackle, steps through another, and Irvin for the touchdown.
There's our lead weak play again. You get the fullback leading up on the inside backer there.
This is what happens when you send pressure, though. All it takes is one crease. Man, I couldn't be happier for that young man coming off of the injury that he had as a young player. But here's a replay here. You see Ethan Piper, Turner Corcoran. You get the lead up block there, and now it's one-on-one. Gabe Irvin with Brown there. Got to make that play. When we're talking about how it is, we'll get away with a little bit of a hold there, but that's okay. We won't call it. But that's a great finish there. Great blocking at the point of attack by those two players. You get a chance to really see the receiver getting down there too, giving a great block as well.
There's a hold. We won't call it. That is spoken like an offensive lineman right there.
Yeah, you got to give credit there to Sean Hardy getting in there, push cracking on there. Oh, going for 2.
So they will go for 2 here. Here is Harburg back there. Flipped out of the flat, wide open.
Billy
Kemp has had a day already.
He's going to be a special player for us. You lose your burner and Lewis Palmer. You lose guys, but you have to have the ability to come back. You see like how Kemp got open here. Harburg with the nice ball. He's got good eyes, sees it all the way, just delivers a strike to him. Goes down and picks it up off the turf.
Well, I tell you, one of the bright spots for Nebraska, as you see Kemp with the touchdown, has been the running back room, right? I mean, all the coaches have talked about how deep this running back room is. There's Irvin Jr. Take a look what they have coming back. Anthony Grant did most of the work last year. But again, Irvin started 2 of the first 4 games of his Nebraska career before injury.
And really, I mean, 2 years ago, Rhule Johnson was our entire run game. I mean, when he wasn't in there, the run game was almost non-existent. So, I mean, you have a stable of backs back there that are able to compete, and it's always good at, oh, here we go.
Stepping to the outside. And a nice return there by Josh Fleeks. Fleeks steps outside, gets it out near the 30-yard line, maybe past the 30.
So this is another one of the situations that's like, we're going to talk about. Coach Rhule talks about it. How do you respond after a turnover? How do you come back out, right? You got punched in the face, you turn the ball over right away, the other team goes down, scores a touchdown right away. What is your response as a player, as an offense, as a play caller, right? All of this is how this team is going to respond after getting punched in the face a little bit.
Now Richard Torres in there at quarterback for the Red offense. So the 4th quarterback already we've seen here today on both sides. Good flip wide open. Grab out there and another fumble. Ty Hahn pulled it in and then turns it over. And another turnover for this Red squad.
Well, not exactly what you're looking for after what I just talked about. But I do love the aggressiveness of Satterfield of just saying, hey, we're going to come out, we're going to throw the football. First time this quarterback's gotten a chance to come out here. Torres is more of a true pocket passer, right? So he's going to step back in there. He delivers a strike. This is a great ball. When he catches it, though, you just got to make sure you come in. But I'll tell you this is really exciting for me to see. Spring games are always weird. You're like sad but excited. Exciting to see the guys that are going after the football here.
Phelan Sanford out of Dundee County, Stratton, Nebraska. Pinkelman with the hit that forced the turnover, recovered by Ashton Hausman.
I'd like to see a deep shot here. I'd like to see, you get 2 turnovers in a row. Let's get a nice play action deep shot and maybe go a little max protect, see if someone can take the top off this defense.
Harburg back in there. Will fake the give and they will go up top. Little check down there after didn't see anyone deep.
This defense is really going to be complete chaos and confusion, right? We talk about the 3-3-5. It's new. Husker fans haven't seen it. Really, no one in the Big Ten has seen it, which is part of what Tony White and Coach Rhule were talking about this week. They wanted to create something different. They really brought it back to when they used to have to coach against the option offense teams, right? It created a week of practice that was just hell trying to prepare for. So now you put it in there 3-3-5. It's going to be different. Teams are going to have to spend a ton of time on it, and you can send looks and blitzes from people all over.
Good carry here, Rhule Johnson.
Really good push in the middle there by those guys up front. Ben Scott, the transfer in from Arizona State there at center. You got Ethan Piper there, who's really starting to come in his own on this camp. And then Ben Hart, again, I think Ben Hart's starting to emerge a little bit of a leader up front. But again, it's just going to A.J. Rollins again in there on the tackle. He sparked a lot off the defense today. Ben Hart, Nuri, Ben Scott, Ethan Piper, big uglies up front.
Coaching staff, outwardly saying, they didn't think the narrative on the offensive line was accurate. They like what they have up here and think that they're going to be the reason they win games this year, not losing, as Rhule steps through 1 tackle. It's enough for a first down for Rhule Johnson.
3rd and short, everyone in there tight, got to get push. Good cut here by Rhule. He sees the hole on the backside. Again, Turner does a nice job keeping the hole there. Really good push here. 3rd and 1, you got to disrupt, right? You see those 3 offensive linemen shoulder to shoulder. Ethan Piper being able to capture that outside shoulder and pin him down. And then the vision from Rhule Johnson, a veteran back for us, seeing that and understanding you just got to get 2. You don't need the home run, just advance the chains and move forward.
Here's the give to Grant. Grant running downhill, breaks 1 tackle near the 20 for a gain of about 7. One of the other things that your friends, buddies would notice, and you notice, is no knee braces out there on those offensive linemen.
I know, they're allowed to play free. Makes me slightly nervous as an offensive lineman, but you want your lineman to run. You want your lineman to be fast and feel athletic. And when you take those knee braces off, you just get to feel free. You get to feel free and be able to go out there and just be athletic. I mean, these guys are 300+ pounds, but they are athletic human beings. We're trying to steal a free 5 yards here at the end of the quarter.
Tried to get him to jump. They did not. So 1 quarter in the books. And the number 1 offense has put 14 on the board here early on. It's the annual red-white spring game. We're getting real football here in Lincoln. Well, there is new Herbie. We'll have more on Herbie at halftime. But how about the T-shirt cannons firing off into the crowd.
Not just T-shirt cannons.
It's a Gatling gun, right? Let's go down to the field. Megan's with Eric Crouch.
You never know who you're going to find down on the field at the Nebraska spring game. How about former Heisman winner Eric Crouch joining us here now? You've had about a quarter to take in the new look. What's your first assessment of this team?
Well, I think they're going to be all right. You know, they got a great coach. Coach Rhule really enjoys his job here, and you can see the passion that he wears as a Husker coach. So to me, that's impressive, and you know, it's a special place. You know, you can't beat the fans in the stadium, 60,000 people. It's just an amazing place to be. So I'm feeling pretty good right now.
60,000 people, and it's freezing, by the way. You can attest to this with me, standing in our big coats. You've had some conversations with Coach Rhule early. How have they been in your assessment of where he's taking this program?
You know, again, he's a passionate guy. He loves his job. You can tell that he's really, you know, he loves the kids too. And I mean, I think that just what matters to him is just that they enjoy themselves and they get better each day, and that they play for each other. And I really think that the foundation that he's building is what Nebraska's foundation has really been all about for years and years. So we're real excited. Former players are excited to have Coach here and be a part of the program.
Big foundation has been great quarterbacks like yourself coming down the pipeline. What do you think the next Nebraska quarterback needs to possess in order to be successful?
That's a great question. I think they have to be tough, number one. Number two, you know, they have to be a team leader. I had a chance to talk to the team the other day, and I just talked about how, you know, each one of those guys can lead. And especially at the quarterback position, you got to be a leader here. Got to be confident and believe in yourself. And you got to be able to win some football games. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
You won quite a few football games. What's your best memory of being a Husker?
Man, just the locker room, the camaraderie with teammates and coaches. It's a dynamic sport. I love every drop of it, every ounce of it. And I'm just glad I got to play an opportunity to play here in Nebraska. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks so much for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Megan, and thanks, Eric Crouch. One of 3 Heisman Trophy winners at Nebraska. Mike Rozier, Johnny Rodgers before him.
More pressure.
Off the edge, Harburg rolling to his left, and he's going to be dropped for a big sack. A lot of pressure coming off the edge. That's Garrett Snodgrass was there first, and then Prince Will closed it out.
Yeah, Maverick Noonan's really the guy that makes this play coming off the edge. Again, they run a little bit of an empty here, so they send 6, which means someone's going to be unblocked. This is something Harburg has to have answers here. You have to be able to go to your hot receiver, but at the end of the day, if you're out of the pocket, put it in the cheap seats, right? You're here flirting with the high red, chance to go get points. Now you're behind the sticks, behind the chains, and now you're really just trying to protect for a field goal.
Maverick Noonan in his freshman year out of Elkhorn South. Legacy Husker, son of Danny Noonan. Played here in the early 80s. Tipped at the line of scrimmage and incomplete.
Good play.
Attempt by Harburg.
Good play there by Nash Hutchman. Just nose guard there again. He talks about a guy that comes through here. He able to not know he's not going to get home on the rush, but get those big bear paws up there, all 6 foot of you, and get up there and throw those hands up and just disrupt, right? I mean, that's a PBU. That goes on the stat sheet for a big fella like that. He's been a guy that's a vocal leader, physical leader. He played a lot of snaps last year with Ty Robinson missing most of the spring. He's been a guy that's really stepped up and really has impressed the coaches with his physical ability, but also his leadership ability.
Coaches have raved about him, former high school wrestler who's 166-0 in his high school wrestling career.
Send 3, drop everyone back.
Wide open, coming back to it though.
Oh,
great opportunity there as it's incomplete, intended for Betts, who had to come back and almost play defender.
Great job here. Betts has him beat. I think this is just a little bit of an underthrown ball. You want to put this ball kind of right in between the 2 yard markers there in the end zone and let Betts, who's one of your more athletic receivers, go up and try and win a 50-50 ball. He's flies. Coach Rhule talked about he's the guy that's going to take the top off this defense. Husker fans are used to seeing that a couple years ago. Glad to have him back on this team.
Javier Morton with the opportunity there. And here is Timmy Bleekrode back in there to try the field goal from 46 yards away. That is no good.
A little bit back into the wind here, so not as good. Again, a little miss hit there, but it's all right. We're what, 2 for 3 now on the day.
There you go. Well, for the biggest Big Ten experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app, powered by Big Ten Network. Download and subscribe today. Great look here at Memorial Stadium. on a very special spring game, the first year of new head coach Matt Rhule, and you get the feeling, Jeremiah, that there's been so much optimism around this program each time a new head coach has come in for 4 consecutive head coaches. This just seems to the fans and to the people around the program a little bit different.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the optimism is there, but there's a healthy caution to that optimism, which is to be fair. But, Coach Rhule, from day one, from his opening press conference, has said the right things. He's done the right things. And, that comes from not just experience in the college, but experience in the NFL. He's coached at the absolute highest level. He knows how hard it is to win there. He knows how hard it is to win here. And he's not out there making bold proclamations that they're going to go do crazy things. He just understands there's a process to this, and they trust, and he knows his process. You've seen what Baylor and Temple, and he's just going to start implementing that process every single day. More pressure, screen.
Torres drops it off.
Really well executed screen there by the Husker offensive line. This is an aggressive defense. How do you slow down an aggressive defense? You throw screens, right? You get a chance to get out there. You see Big Win out there trying to get himself involved. Does a really nice job there by Keegan Menning, getting on him and then just getting out and leading up. And now you'll be able to cut that down, put yourself in a manageable 3rd and 5.
Part of the optimism, too, around Rhule is he's kind of been the phoenix of college football coaches. He brought Temple back from the ashes.
Yep.
He brought Baylor from, true ruin and ashes. And this is not an easy process here. A lot of young players still, a lot of progress still to be made. Offenses and defenses to put in, and another turnover, and it is recovered by the white team. So the first turnover by the red.
This is all created by Wynn. Wynn is a really good player. He's able to get a cross-face, create disruption, and the running back, you can see here, Wynn be able to beat the right guard here. He's sitting there. That running back hits, it gets hit by the fullback. The fullback hits it there. That's just sloppy ball. And I'll tell you this, the number one thing I saw Coach Rhule was not happy after that fumble there. That is sloppy football. You can see him yelling at the sideline right now. That is unacceptable. He has a standard that he holds everyone in the building to. And ball security, ball is king, is the number one thing he preaches.
So wide offense, the number 1 offense back out there. Jeff Sims, quarterback once again. Here's the give to Grant. Great blocking up front. Plenty of room for Grant to run, and Anthony Grant with a gain of 8.
Yeah, watch Bryce Benhart here. Bryce Benhart's at the point of attack, your right tackle. He has to stretch this defensive end. He gets on him here. He climbs up to the linebacker, gives him just enough of a shove, and Nuri and Piper and those guys in the middle just keeping a wall moving. Ben Scott turning back on those guys. That's going to be a staple play for us. That wide stretch zone puts a lot of stress on the edges of this defense to really set a wall and try and turn it back in.
Motions across to give to Grant again. Prince Will's right there.
A lot of split zone. Split zone here is where we talk about we have the guy starting one side. You see him come back across here and pull. You have another puller. You're trying to create gaps in the defense. And you're seeing quite a few. That's kind of a staple play that Coach Rhule and this offense are putting in with Satterfield. It just creates different gaps. It creates the ability to have play action off of pullers. And so that's one thing to keep an eye on here is how many times you're seeing guys go back across the football at the snap of the ball.
The freshman Prince Will Umamielen has flashed here a few times in this first half for the red defense. Grant patient in the hole, leans forward down to the 20. That's going to be enough for a first down.
A guy in this defense that we haven't called his name yet, but he's been a different kind of a playmaker throughout the summer. Jamari Butler, number 10. He plays that rover position. You talk about 3-3-5, you have the 5 DBs, but when you want to go a little bit bigger, you bring Jamari Butler back off the ball a little bit, and he's going to be all over the field. He can line up at Mike linebacker, Will linebacker, Sam, the Jack, whatever it might be, and you can send pressure, and he's got the athletic ability to be out and cover big tight ends, the ability to be out in the flat for a receiver on a bubble screen. He's going to be a guy that we talk a lot about in the fall.
What did Tony White say about him? There's not a practice that goes by where he doesn't flash at some point.
I mean, he was linebacker last play, and now he's standing on the edge of the ball there over Fedoni.
On the ground again, and we've seen it put in the turf now 4 times here in this first half.
Can't do that, man. football is king. If you turn the ball over, and talk about why Nebraska lost some football games in the past, it's been turnovers. It's been turnovers at inopportune times. But I mean, there's one of the greatest winning stats in the NFL is winning the turnover battle. Really, any college football, any football in general, if you win the turnover battle and you get 2 or 3 in a game, your odds of winning go drastically up into almost the 70%.
So Bonner, along with Grant, back in the I formation. Sims drop back out of the flat. Nice grab.
Great blitz pickup there by Anthony Grant. They come off. This is again another one of those Tony White specials with the blitz. They run a cross dog in the middle, but they're also bringing a guy off the edge. You see the center and the right guard pick up inside. Anthony Grant comes over there, makes a great pass protection here, gives Sims a chance to step up and deliver that strike. When they send blitzes like that, you got one-on-one coverage, and you're expecting your tight ends to be, or your wide outs and tight ends to go win.
Tavion Thompson with the grab. Check in. Yep. Down to the 6-yard line for Thompson, so brings up 1st and goal for the White on top, 14-0.
This is where you want to run the football into the end zone. You don't want to get cute. You want to rely on your front 5 to really get the push here and run it into the end zone.
Grant with the carry. Met in the hole by Omar Brown. Omar Brown with the initial hit.
Again, nice job by the guy up front. You can see he just goes underneath. Ben Scott does a nice job of just covering him up. But for him to be able to go in there, you can't go anywhere if the center's trying to just bear crawl over the top of a guy. You got to dig underneath his pads and root him out of there.
This is where I think you think about what Rhule said yesterday, looking for a quarterback with that it factor. Who's going to be in a situation like this where we have an opportunity to put points on the board and find a way to make a play?
Yeah, and you put him in empty. You put him in empty here so you can really get a good look at the defense. They send 5.
And here he is, put to tackle, in for a touchdown. And there is that 6'4", 220 frame of Sims for the touchdown.
Again, this starts with the formation call. You put everyone out wide. You make sure that it's a light box. He can read it. And then they bring 5. So the 5 guys up front pick up that 5. And then it's just one-on-one here. You can see it's the empty. They go through here. Everyone drops. And then it's just one-on-one. Here for the safety. And you see the strength there of the size that he can bring and go break those tackles and get into the end zone. The quarterback run game inside the 10-yard line, is the most dangerous threat that you can have against a defense.
Really good in there for the point after. That is good. Bleak Road almost perfect last year on PATs, 34 of 35. And White has extended that lead now at 21-0. This quarterback room, we talked about it earlier, 6 scholarship quarterbacks. Probably going to be weeded out a little bit, thinned out as they head into summer conditioning. But there are some guys with some experience in Power 5, starting experience competing for this job.
I mean, we may have the most experienced quarterback room in the country. I mean, you have Casey Thompson, who started a ton of games for Texas, including us last year, who we won't sit to see today. You have Chubba Purdy, who's also started for us, who started in Florida State. You bring in Sims from Georgia Tech. Logan Smothers has started football games for us. I mean, the depth in this room is fantastic, but as we all know, transfer portal, the way things go, it's a little unrealistic to think that all 6 will still be here come in the fall. But guess what? If you're one of the top 3, you're not leaving. So you're fighting for a chance at that top 3, knowing that Casey Thompson's going to be able to come back and make a difference. And I think he'll get the chance to fight for the starter there.
Another look at the carry by Jeff Sims, the junior out of Jacksonville, Florida.
You know who's not going to like that is Tony White. He's not going to like the fact that if you want to play DB in this offense, you have to tackle. You have to tackle. If you want to play DB in this league, you have to tackle. There is NFL running backs on almost every single team in the Big Ten. You have to be able to come up there if you're in a one-on-one situation and get your guy on the ground. Little celebration there, a little dice roll with Billy Kemp, Jeff Sims. You gotta love it. Guys having fun, right? It's fun to hang 21 points up on someone. It's a good time. You can enjoy it. There's a look there. Oh, a little windy. Make sure we have the ball spotted here. Again, the XFL kickoff rules here. No one can move until the ball is caught by the returner.
Telly Brown returning it from the 10. Out past the 20.
Good coverage again there. Good aggressive hit. Good tackles. All right, this offense needs to just settle down. This offense just needs to take a big deep breath, settle down. I mean, if this is a game situation, you really want to just get back to the run game, get back to starting to just get your first down. This offense needs to get the first down, get in a rhythm, get a chance to let the play caller start getting some things out there. But the number one thing, just settle yourselves down.
Chubba Purdy back in there now at quarterback. Give to Emmett Johnson. Johnson is stopped after a short game.
Number 14 is a guy to keep an eye on here on this white defense. You know, Chief Borders, the transfer in, you know, he's a guy that really has played a lot of ball in the SEC. He's physical and he looks the part, right? When you're talking about guys looking the part, he's kind of the Jamari Butler on this side of the ball, right? You see him, he was blitzing on the last play. He's out here dropping in coverage on this play. He's that guy that can do so many different things, and you can just do a lot with him. You know, we're seeing kind of the defense is split up a little bit more than the offenses as far as your playmakers, but you start talking about getting Jamari Butler and Borders and MJ Sherman all on the field together. That's where you can start really putting special things that Tony White's just going to be salivating with the blitz packages and the coverage things that he can do with those type of playmakers.
Nice job going through the progressions there of Purdy. Had it in the hands of A.J. Allen out of the backfields. Third down now. Purdy under pressure. Gets away from one. Has some room on the near side. Purdy up for the first down. Past the 40-yard line and a good scramble by Chubba Purdy.
They send pressure again, right? This defense, you can see it here. They send pressure again. It gets picked up. You know, the backs are involved in protection. Everyone gets here, but there's no one left for the quarterback. When you send pressure like this, the guy that has to make that play is way back there in coverage, which allows these seams. And Purdy, not known for the most athletic guy in the world, but he still has a chance to get out there and convert and get that first down like we were talking about.
A.J. Allen in the backfield along with Purdy on first down. Fake to give. And then throws it away.
Good decision. Don't try and force something that's not there. Live to find another day. First down. You don't need to make it the mistake here. Again, we go back to this is the puller there. You see the right guard pulling across the ball here, trying to create that suck up by the linebackers so the tight end can come in over the top. Just no one was able to get open.
Phelan Sanford there in coverage. Out of the shotgun is Purdy. Nice grab on the edge. Catch by Fleeks. Fleeks with a nice game.
Again, talking about getting the ball and playmaker. Fleeks is a guy that can fly. He's got a lot of speed coming off here. So you want to make him see the first guy miss one cut, get up the field, put yourself in a 3rd and 3 here to try and move the chains. Blaze Gunnarsson, number 97, right here closest to us, the defensive lineman. He's been a guy that, you know, has developed a lot. He's gotten bigger. He's put on weight. He's a guy that they're really hoping can kind of come into his own to play next to Ty Robinson and those guys next year.
Bullock was in motion. How about that? Right on cue, huh?
Yeah, he's going against, you know, the Jacob Hood, the transfer in, big tackle there, you know, so that's a big man, by the way. Jacob Hood is a large human being, but, you know, Gunnarsson does a nice job. He crosses his face here. He creates the havoc, allows the guy to come off the outside.
Bring up 4th down and 4. It's maybe one of the misnomers of, you know, a 3-3-5 is, you know, are other teams going to be able to run? And you take a look at what San Diego State did within the first couple of years they implemented it under Tony White. They second in the nation in run defense. It's a kind of a chaos defense that can disrupt in the backfield and create big losses.
Yeah, you know, you see it all with the 3-3-5. You see it. Oh, fake punt. Oh, so close.
And a nice play there by Tagaloa, Brody Tagaloa.
Buschini just doesn't quite have that 4.4 speed to break through those guys, but I love the aggressive nature. You put it on tape, and guess what? The other Big Ten teams are watching this. They're going to see that. Now they got to prepare for it. A little gamesmanship there by Coach Rhule.
Good recognition there by Brody Tagaloa, freshman out of Pittsburgh, California.
Takes it through. It's a nice job there making that tackle. You know, if he breaks that tackle, he's going to pick up the first down. So that's a really nice job for him to be able to go through there and make that tackle. Oh, false start.
Harburg back out there at quarterback again, and a false start. Did you see the new Herbie? What'd you think? You got the whole corn cob and everything.
I love it. I love it, dude. I mean, I love the bringing the old school back when you got some hype.
Offense, number 63, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, here is Herbie down the tunnel walk. The new look Herbie took a ride around the stadium.
Look at that motorcycle. That thing is nice. The fans are excited about it, right? Honestly, I think the fans might have been equally excited to see Herbie Husker run out of that tunnel as much as they were Matt Rhule in this year's Huskers.
I think you're right. Harburg over the middle. Did a great job defensively on that back end. Swiped to get away. There is Harburg with the play.
It's a good ball, good timing. Really, really good. He puts it out in front of him. This is a catch that he's got to be able to make here. Gets a little alligator arms here. I think he feels the safety coming in there, but Malcolm Hartzog does a really nice job being able to put that hand in there and get that pass break up. This defense has been surprising today. You know, I think that people were a lot of question marks about this defense, what we're going to see, but this first team defense has done really nice things with the pressure and keeping them off the look. Gabe Irvin with a nice blitz pickup.
Under pressure again.
They didn't blow a whistle. They didn't blow a whistle. They're calling that a live football.
Pop.
Wow. Didn't blow the whistle there. You know, Sean Hardy, really good heads-up play there.
Yeah,
It's third down.
That's good. I mean, you never know anymore. You never know if it's a fumble. It's not like you never want to be the guy standing there as the defender picks up the ball and runs the other way for a touchdown, right? So always getting on the ball, always being able to here. But again, just a heads-up play. Good pressure. Gabe Irvin comes along here. The center, Evan Jenkins, gets beat a little bit there, but that's obviously an incomplete ball. His hands going forward. These backs, man, these backs, and you play Nebraska, you as a running back better be cued in on your pass protection because they're going to send guys weak, they're going to send guys strong. You know, the back is going to be a major part. You know, there's another side to that. If your back's in on protection, that means he can't get out as your safety net in the route. You know, so there's a lot of philosophies that come into why you send guys, why you blitz the back, why you don't blitz the back. That's just one of them, is keeping them in there in the protection.
Well, you mentioned it before, too, with this new look defense. It's going to be difficult for other teams to prepare for in just a week when it's not something we'll see all the time. That looked like an incomplete pass, but that was scooped up, and they're going to not blow the whistle, and it's going to be a touchdown for now.
Turner Corcoran's down.
Michael Booker III picked it up.
That's going to be one. That's going to be closer on the last one. He took a big hit there as he tried to deliver that football. He does a nice job escaping the pressure, stepping up in the pocket, and then he just takes a big hit here. That's incomplete.
Yep.
That's incomplete. Worst news for Nebraska, though, another offensive lineman, Turner Corcoran, being helped to the sideline there by trainers. That is a position that we cannot afford. Teddy Prohaska not practicing with the team this year, coming off the ACL injury last year. You know, as a left tackle, that's a toughest position on the field. But I guess they're gonna call this a touchdown.
So red team on the board defensively. Michael Booker III with the scoop and score off of the fumble. So on for the extra point, here's Pankratz. And a flag on the play. Kick was good. Looks like penalty declined. We're not gonna re-kick.
The wave off from Matt Rhule.
Well, tonight the USFL season continues with the Memphis Showboats taking on the Birmingham Stallions. That's at 7 Eastern, only on Fox. Well, 66,045. We're not going to be deterred by the 40-degree weather here at Memorial Stadium. That's the official attendance.
Anthony Grant back to return a kick here. Maybe not.
Well, for a moment, he maybe just snuck out there and thought he'd give it a shot. I think
that's one of those where you're like, I can do it, coach. He goes,
I got it.
Get back over here, sit down. Xavier Betts takes back there. Let's see if he can get some speed. He can get some speed. I mean, this is a guy, he needs one step.
Yeah.
He gets one step, and it's a absolute house call.
So Blake Road to kick it away. Really like the XFL kickoff format.
So far, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So Betts from the 7.
Nice.
Good return out past the 30 to the 35-yard line.
Look at Herbie down there in the corner, getting everyone fired up. Who's more excited than Herbie Husker right now? Gets a full wardrobe change, gets a full makeover, and he's going to be a fan favorite. He's going to take more pictures this year than he's ever taken before in his entire life.
He's got the corn cob in the back pocket. I mean, that is full-on Husker football.
The overalls, it's fantastic. You can't get any better than that. That's Big Red right there. Mary Nwili out there at left tackle now with Turner Corcoran being on the sideline. So that's something Ethan Piper moves over there to left guard.
There is Sims over the middle. Great connection on the quick hitter. Sims to Marcus Washington. There's a look at old, or I should say, previous Herbie and new Herbie. What do you think?
Gained a little weight. Old Herbie hit the old extra Christmas cookies there in the offseason, but I love it. You know, it's good for a good wardrobe change. I mean, that was the Herbie when I played here in Nebraska. So new trends, new Rhule, new era, new Herbie.
That's really going old school Herbie with the overalls back and, you know.
Equally great smiles.
There you go.
Equally great smiles.
First down after the completion to Washington. Washington had his best 2 weeks in the last 2 weeks. According to the coaching staff, there's Ramir Johnson with the carry.
Roquan Buckley there with the tackle. He's been a guy that splashed a little bit today. You know, you talk about Nash Hutchmaker on the other side as the nose guard. Roquan Buckley's been the nose guard for the red defense. He's done a nice job. You know, he's got a little bit more athletic ability to rush the passer, you know, so you can bump him out over into that 3 technique to rush over the guard. You can put him, he's got the size and the strength over the center there. He's a guy that the coaches talked a lot, that made some big strides in the offseason. Being able to be in the weight room, strength conditioning, and just really morphing his body to become an all 3-down player for defense. Watch pressure off the right side.
2nd and 4. Ramir again with the carry near the first down, maybe a yard short.
Jamari Butler caught a face full of the right guard there. Ben Scott catches him, brings him back. Nice pancake there by Ben Scott on Jamari Butler. Just opens that hole, brings up a 3rd and short here. You see Anthony Grant, Thomas Fedoni, Nate Borchiker run onto the field. You're going to get the 12 personnel, big back, big look here. Be curious if you see maybe a play action shot here. There's kind of that fringe area where it's a go for it on 4th down, not quite punt, not quite field goal.
Yep.
Sometimes you can see a shot play out of this.
Bonner back in there at fullback now. Johnson at the top of the eye. They'll give it to Bonner right into contact. Boy, good edge set there and a nice play defensively by this red squad.
Fullback dive here. Sherman. Yep, there's MJ Sherman again, another transfer there coming out of the SEC. Played a lot of football. Big physical linebacker. And here we talked about, you know, this is a little far for a field goal, little close for a punt, so you're going to go for it here. This is the right call. 2 tight end set. Hard count. Try to steal a free first down there.
30 seconds.
Good discipline there by that defensive front not to jump. Now the question is, do you go for it again? This is also kind of what do you want to be known as a play caller? You know, what do you want to be known as an offensive? Are you a team that gambles? Do you go for it? Are you the Riverboat Ron Rivera's that are out there? Are you an analytics guy, or are you just a, hey, if we're under 4th and 2 inside our own 50, we're going for it, right? You know, that's just something that you start to put in your culture and your DNA as an offense, as a football team, and just let the other league know, like, we're here for business.
It is a chilly one. But 66,000 plus. So they are going to go out of the gun here on 4th. Sims drops back. Quick over the middle. Was it caught? No, incomplete.
Marcus Washington couldn't quite bring that one in. Good protection again. They go full slide over here. Good ball. Can't drop that. Marcus Washington's got to take place for Lewis Palmer last year. He's got to be the guy that becomes wide receiver #1 on the edge. That's just a ball that he needs to catch.
There is Tom Osborne, 3-time national champion.
He was the AD when I got recruited here. I got to sit down with him as I was recruiting. I walked out and my mom goes, "Who was that?" And my dad and I just laughed. Love you, Mom.
Purdy drops back. Ooh, in and out of the hands. Intended for
Eric Albert.
Eric Albert.
I think that Eric Gilbert there. I think, again, it's hard to miss. He looks like an old lineman running down the field there. But, you know, that's a guy that you're going to want to rely on. And too many drop balls. That's something that Coach Rhule is going to want to address because, you know, drop balls now, instead of sitting at another 1st down plus 50, you're now 2nd and 10, a little bit behind the chains.
Looking deep. There is Purdy. He'll pull it down and head to the sideline. Brings up 3rd down for the Red Squad, looking to get on the board here near the end of the 2nd quarter.
You're seeing a little bit different philosophy the last couple plays here. They've dropped back 8 into coverage and only rushed 3, right? We're seeing blitz, 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 but now you're seeing that now you flip the switch and now it's all coverage, right? So again, that talks about keeping the quarterbacks on their toes, keeping the offense on their toes. They're getting used to something, and then all of a sudden you be able to switch it up, playing coverage. You're going to be able to get the protection. You're just relying on the back end. Situational football here, end of half. How do you want to do it?
Purdy under pressure again, steps up, flips it out into the flat. Not much running room for Emmett Johnson after the carry.
3 seconds left here in half. See if we take a timeout.
Timeout, red.
So now
30 seconds.
One of the changes coming this year to college football, they are stopping here inside the 2-minute, but the change next year is that on a 1st down, there won't be stoppage of the clock.
Thank goodness. Speed the games up a little bit, a little more NFL style. But no, this is a part of that situational football Coach Rhule talked about. You know, end of half, 3 seconds here. You wanted to get a quick strike there to put yourself in a better position to throw a Hail Mary here. You know, this is probably something he wants to practice. You know, you can get so many live reps in practice, but Hail Mary here, how does the defense make sure you're lined up on defense? You don't want to go up for the interceptions, right? Bat the ball down. But also, I was part of the Hail Mary one down here for Western Camp. It can happen. You know, it's part of the game. It can be a momentum shifter at half and all those things. So I bet you we see a chance at a nice Hail Mary here. Usually you go 6-man protection, the back comes in. Purdy's going to try and roll over here to his right so he can get a little bit more oomph on the ball. You'll see all those guys kind of come down and gather in that corner of the end zone here on the south side. As a D lineman here, you want to make sure you keep the quarterback in the pocket. You don't want to let him roll out. You want to make sure you take discipline in your rush lanes.
So what will rush 3. Flipped out of the backfield. There is A.J. Allen. And Allen to end the 1st half with about a 13-yard gain. So that is where we will be at half. The white squad on top 21-7.
Good first half for the red squad, or the white squad. Got to clean up the turnovers and the drop balls, and those are things that need to get addressed at half and really come out clean and be a little more cleaner with the football here in the second half.
So Megan McEwen is down to the field with the defensive coordinator, Tony White.
Coach, fans got to see the 3-3-5 defense in person for the first time. How would you assess your defense's execution in that first half?
You know what, the guys were running around well. I just got to, with the being on both sides of it, we got to communicate a little bit better. A lot of guys playing. It's a beautiful day. A lot of people here. No place like Nebraska, huh?
60,000 for a spring game. No place like it. Is there a play in particular that stuck out to you in that first half?
No, there's some guys, some young guys going up and taking some hits. I didn't like the option out there, but you know, we just got to keep on doing what we're doing. Let guys play ball and go see what happens.
How much fun are you having in front of this crowd today?
Tell you what, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I mean, some people drove from Texas to come out here and watch us play. Let's go. We're ready.
Let's go, Coach. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much, Megan. Thank you, Tony White, for joining us. A legend reintroduced here at Memorial Stadium. It's going to be a very special moment when we come back here in Lincoln. We are here at halftime at Memorial Stadium, and they are honoring a true legend, not only a former player, a fullback number 45, but also a former head coach at Nebraska, Frank Solich.
Solich and his family. To Memorial Stadium, Coach Solich. And now we have a special announcement to make. If you would, please turn your attention to the Husker Vision screens to learn more.
The Touchdown Club and the Cattle Club are kind of a neat part of Nebraska football and Nebraska athletic history. And it was a way for fans to get invested in the program and to give and donate and make a difference. As a player, you'd see a locker room would get refreshed, and the funds for that came from the Touchdown Club, came from those booster clubs. When the opportunity came to donate towards this locker room, it fit right into kind of our mission to help that football program, to help that student athlete once they're on campus. The choice to name the locker room for Coach Solich, I think it goes back a long ways. It's starting in the Vanny era, through the Osborne era, and then him as head coach. I think it's just very fitting that the locker room be named after Frank Solich. He was a guy that was really a player's coach. He expected a lot out of you, but always respected you. He impacted so many players throughout the decades that he was here that it just seemed like a fitting way to honor him.
Here to present a commemorative plaque in honor of the new Husker locker room being named after Frank Solich. Please welcome members of the Touchdown Club, University of Nebraska President Ted Carter, University of Nebraska Lincoln Chancellor Ronnie Green, Nebraska Athletic Director Trev Alberts, and Tom Osborne.
Husker fans, thank you so much for being here. I know it's a little cold and windy, but we appreciate your support and for being here. I want to thank the Touchdown Club. Thank you guys for your support and all you do for Nebraska football. Most importantly, I want to thank you, Frank and Pam, and the Solich family for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, a former player, former assistant coach, and head coach of your Nebraska Cornhuskers, Mr. Frank Solich.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So many people to thank. I'll try to make this quick, but obviously my family's here, my extended family, Coach Osborne, who is the reason I got into college coaching. The fans, you know, you guys have been tremendous over the years, and I appreciate what you were all about and what you continue to be about for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So I want to wish Coach Rhule a great year. So what do you say? Let's go Big Red, huh? All right, baby.
Husker fans, let's hear it one more time for Nebraska legend Frank Solich.
Well, if you're a Nebraska fan, if you're a Nebraska native, if you are a Cornhusker football fan, you understand the gravity of what just took place here at halftime as Frank Solich back at Memorial Stadium in front of fans for the first time in nearly 20 years and being honored as the legend that he is. We chat with him in the third. Spring football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by the USFL. The USFL season continues tonight at 7 Eastern, only on Fox. Pre-game festivities from here at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. Little Red enjoying a chilly afternoon for the 2023 version of the annual Red-White Spring Game. 66,000 fans plus on hand. And I think what we saw in the first half, and I think the good preview was what Tony White wants to do with that 3-3-5 defense. And kind of the, you know, it can wreak a little bit of havoc.
Yeah, you know, we saw it all. They were sending linebackers everywhere, DBs everywhere. You saw guys lining up and blitzing, and then the next play they're dropping into coverage, right? You see D linemen that are playing nose guard, but then they're bumping out and playing defensive end. So it just is chaos out there. And as an offense, you know, you have to plan for that every single week, you know. But it's one of those things that you're excited about because it's going to create negative plays. You're going to see TFLs every single week.
Somebody who navigated it well in the first half was Jeff Sims, the portal transfer quarterback out of Georgia Tech, and he showed up in that first half, the first couple of drives, did a nice job.
Yeah, you know, he did it nice with his legs and with his arm. You know, he delivered a couple really nice passes to Borkacher there over the middle. He found Kemp a few times. Here you see he sees the blitz, he reads the blitz, he brings it back into the man coverage, and then he also is able to make plays with his legs, right? He makes plays with his legs. He comes through here, and he gets his scampers for a first down, but also he had the touchdown run as he runs too. So, you know, overall, really good to him. Billy Kemp's another guy, right? Talked about, they raved about him as they came in last night. They said that he's going to be a huge weapon for this offense. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he does have that shiftiness. He has that ability for the yards after the catch, making guys miss. And he's done a nice job with his ball security coming in here. He's going to be a weapon for us as we go through. And he had the big two-point conversion.
A lot more football to come. Second half action coming your way from Memorial Stadium. 21-7, White on top here in Lincoln. Back here at Memorial Stadium, let's quickly go down to Megan. She's with Coach.
Coach Satterfield, what's the biggest adjustment offensively you want your team to make in the second half?
Well, I mean, we did some good things with the first unit, but we're turning the ball over, putting it on the ground way too much, and we're getting the ball down inside the red zone. We're settling for field goals, so we got to really hone in on execution down here in the red zone, score touchdowns instead of kick field goals, and take care of the football.
We're excited to see touchdowns in the second half. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Megan. Elliott Brown with the return out to the 29, but we had a flag, and that's going to back up this red offense. Right on cue, what Coach Satterfield did not want to see happens on the opening kickoff.
These are drive killers. I mean, as much as it still is 1st and 10, like, just you add one more extra first down to be able to get down there. These are field flipping. These are things that, like, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. When you have an offense that is still finding their identity and a young quarterback in the fall, you know, these are things that are really you just have to try and avoid as much as possible.
So Richard Torres out of San Antonio, Texas will open up this second half as the signal caller for the red. Not much up front, no gain on first down. There is that Frank Solich locker room.
How cool is that?
It was announced, as you heard at halftime, the new locker room here in the brand new facility, which is stunningly nice, is going to be named after Frank Solich.
One of the all-time greats. I mean, he did great things even after leaving here. He's just a phenomenal football coach.
Completed over the middle. There is Frank with his wife Pam and his kids pointing up to the big screen. Look at that.
Been reading the articles about how hard Trev was trying to bring Frank back here and how eventually he told him, it's not for me, Frank, it's for the fans. And that was finally what Abel flipped him to really get the chance to come back here and experience, because the fans do love and adore him as a coach, and you know, they welcome him back with open arms.
Frank is obviously making his way through the crowd and conversations, but we expect to be able to chat with him here in the booth in the third. It'll be great to see Coach again.
Another nice disruption play there by Wynn. You know, he's flashed at times, been able to get back there. Another big body guy. He's able to flash and get back there and create the guy to bounce. Oh no, another injured Husker offensive lineman. Looks like Jacob Hood, the big transfer. Another tackle. Holding that ankle area. Gosh dang it. That's one thing in the spring game. You try and just get out of here as healthy as possible. You know, and now you're talking Turner Corcoran goes down in the first half. You now have Jacob Hood that's going to have a chance to probably have to come off the field here.
Well, tonight, one of the best rivalries in men's lacrosse renews when Johns Hopkins battles Maryland, and then the women's lacrosse regular season concludes. It's a showdown between the Wildcats and the Terrapins. That's all tonight, only on Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Yeah, second offensive lineman and been down early. Just the environment surrounding this special day is the team coming in earlier today, getting ready for the game. Treated it just like a regular game day, right? So much work to be done.
That unity walk's one of the coolest things that you can do as a player. You know, for me, it was always the pregame hug with mom and dad, and you get to see the fans, and Coach Rhule talked a little bit on it too. You get to see, you know, you get to see the kids that are super excited. You get to see some of these guys that transferred in, you know, you get to see it, and you're walking hand in hand with your coach, with your brothers, and it really just kind of sets the tone for game day. You know, that's the first thing as a player that starts game day for you, getting off the bus, showing up to the stadium, and just feeling the support from the second you step off that bus.
And that happens hours before the game, and yet the fans are here early, lining the walkway.
You got the band leading you most of the time too. Herbie's there, which is of course the fan favorite.
Right. Give to A.J. Allen, not much there for Allen. That'll bring up third down.
Wynn again showing up on a nice push play there up the middle. He's able to push the right guard back, shed him, and make a play on A.J. Allen.
Wynn Jr., transfer from Alabama, was at the IMG Academy. He's out of Anderson, South Carolina.
You talk about one thing we need to be better and get better at on this defense is size and disruption up front. You play in the Big Ten, you're going to face the Gophers that are going to run it 80 times, Michigan, Iowa, like all those teams. You have to be able to stop the run up front, and that just comes with big body guys up there.
Third down and long. Torres drops back. Completion over the middle. Caught by Elliott Brown. for a short gain. It's going to be out to the 25-yard line. And punting situation here for the Red offense.
Nuri has now gone from guard to left tackle to right tackle. So, you know, you talk about as much as you don't want guys getting hurt, you don't want guys to get dinged, you're getting guys with meaningful snaps at different positions so that in the fall when you got to be able to move guys around, you're not throwing a guy out there for the first time into the fire. He's at least done it in a game situation here in the spring game. So not what you want, but you got to find the silver linings out of it.
Kicked away by Jacob Rhule. Taken and dropped immediately. There is Coach Matt Rhule, who came into this spring, he said, with 3 goals: improve strength and mobility, come together as a brotherhood, and live out the process.
You know, number 1 goal there, the improved strength and mobility, you know, that starts with Coach Corey Campbell there in the weight room and his philosophy. You know, Coach Rhule talked a lot about how with these players that are coming in, you know, it used to be you had 3, 4 sport athletes that played baseball, basketball, track, but these kids are specializing so much more that they're coming in and they've only ever played football. So you talk about functional movement, making sure they can control their own body weight, going in lateral movements, and all those things that he just thinks is so important, because that's how you mimic games. You don't run football in a straight line. You don't play the game of football in linear. It's on so many different directions, and that's some prehab stuff too, right? You get guys come in here, make sure they don't have knee injuries, they don't have hip injuries, those type of things, you know, and then he moves on to the creating the brotherhood aspect. The brotherhood aspect is so big. You know, you're going to war with these guys every single week. You have to have trust and love to play hard for the guys next to you, and that's just something that takes time. That's not something you're going to flip a switch and just all of a sudden everyone loves each other and your brothers, right? It just takes time.
Part of what they did with the Husker Olympics, I think we saw that. Toss over the middle. Incomplete. It was intended for Marcus Washington. Flag on the play.
Offside in the Missouri at the snap. Defense number 19. The 5-yard penalty results in 1st and 10.
Jacob Hood jogging back across the field for us here, so hopefully he's okay. Just a quick little roll up and be able to get him back out there. But again, another unforced error by the defense. You do your job, you get into 3rd down, you line up in the neutral zone. You just got to clean those things up, because that leads to points here, hopefully.
Fedoni back in there at tight end here for this white offense. And another flag.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 1st down.
That's a no-no coming off a dead ball. Defensive penalty. A little more urgency, a little better with the substitution coming in and out. Again, it's the spring game, so you got guys running back and forth from the sides, and you've got different players. You got guys playing on both sides. So, I mean, a little bit of that to be expected, but that'll be enough to drive Coach Rhule crazy.
Betts and Barry Miles Jr. at the bottom.
Nice pitch and catch there. Marcus Washington
with the grab.
Marcus Washington pushing him up there, getting him past. Good, threatens him with the speed, puts his foot in the ground, comes back. Nice outside ball throw there by Sims.
Well, we might see maybe earlier on try to take the top off it with Betts. Haven't seen that yet.
We've had a couple where, you know, right after the turnover, we saw they tried to go max protect and throw it deep. They covered it well. He was able to check it down. I believe it was to Anthony Grant there, you know, safe, smart plays. But, you know, I think a lot of what we're showing here, you know, Coach Rhule talked, we're going to play our plays, we're going to do our things, but you want to execute the stuff you know you're going to run every single week. You know, there's certain times you take your shot plays when you're talking about against certain looks or against certain blitzes. You know, today's a lot about just running our stuff. All out blitz.
Spins out of one, tackle still on his feet. Great carry there by Jeff Sims, and once again that strength on what could have been a loss turns into a 5-yard gain.
It's a really nice job by Sims. I mean, they're sending 7 guys here. Nash Hutchmaker, we talk about chaos. He's dropping back into coverage. The big nose guard here. Princewell just barely misses him off the outside there. Nash is trying to come up and make a play. That's just not fair, getting big fella out there against Sims. But again, nice job to put yourself in a situation to go 3rd and short.
Yard to go from the gun is Sims. There's the give, the outside kick to Ramir Johnson. And Ramir Johnson with a gain of about 9 on 3rd down and 1.
Run a simple inside zone play there, keeping the guys in. You see the guy cave down over the left tackle. Ramir Johnson sees the vision, able to push it out the front side. Nice job there by that left side of the offensive line with Nuri and Ethan Piper.
Johnson now leading all ball carriers with 31 yards on 5 carries in the spring game.
No, they talked about Johnson, how he bulked up this offseason, right? They said they gained about 7 or 8 pounds there, which for him, he's not a huge stature guy, but he runs bigger than he is, which is, I know, a funny thing to say, but he's not afraid as a smaller back to put his shoulder in there and go.
Little pump fake there. Over the middle, sliding grab.
There's her deep shot.
Yeah, tried to go deep right. Marcus Washington with catch.
Yeah, again, you know, they have 2 deep crossers here coming across the ball. He kind of gives the pump fake here, trying to get the guys to bite on it on the play action. Pump fake, comes back around. He's able to find Washington over.
Nice grab there by Washington. I like the command that Jeff Sims is showing here with this white team. Obviously, he'll be in a battle come the fall as well, as Casey Thompson re-enters the picture. He's out in the spring.
Yeah, Coach Rhule talked about finding a quarterback that has that it factor, right? The it factor really is coming to here in this game of how do you operate. Let's take a look back here at this Washington, right? You know, he does a great job off his release, takes his time, creates separation, and then he just finds the open space and keeps running for his quarterback here. You know, you'd like to see Sims put that out a little bit more so he can maybe catch that and turn the sideline there, but he just did great off the route, buying time, finding the holes in the zone, and allowing his quarterback to escape the pocket and find him. This Washington Kemp 2-man punch here on the receiver and slot receiver could be really special for this team. Right on cue, Kemp on the outside.
There is Kemp inside the 20 down to about the 18-yard line for Kemp. That'll bring up 3rd down, and we'll call it 2 yards.
Nice misdirection play there, fly sweep. You know, you run that multiple times. You want to make sure that, you know, you fake it, and then they end up forgetting about it, and then you hand it to them one time, right? And again, getting the ball in your playmaker's hands. Coach Solich. How are you?
On 3rd down and about 2. Tripped up in the backfield.
Really nice play there. It's a big tackle. That's a saving tackle there by Sincere. His ability to really get up there and make that play, because as a corner, you got to be able to tackle these big backs coming out there. That's an easy 1st down when you're 1-on-1. You want to play corner in this league, tackle.
Ooh, on 4th down, nothing there. And a big play by the Huskers. That's MJ Sherman again. Sherman out of Georgia, the transfer, just a sophomore.
They tried to pull. He takes on the puller, near shoulders him, takes through the contact, and drives through the tackle. That is a physical linebacker that's going to be all over the field for the Huskers. Big pickup here coming in from the transfer portal.
We are thrilled to be joined up here in the booth in the 3rd quarter by former Nebraska head coach Frank Solich. Coach, it's great to see you.
Thanks, Charles. It's great to see you guys.
Absolutely, Coach. How was it walking back into Memorial Stadium 1st time in a very, very long time?
Well, it was a little rough, actually. I didn't expect it to be, but, you know, a lot of great memories over the years from actually my playing days as well as coaching days under Coach Osborne and then as head coach. So it was great. I really enjoyed the day.
You know, you said one of the things you were looking forward to coming back was watching some football. I would imagine you haven't had a chance to watch much football.
Not as much as I'd like, that's for sure. Yeah.
Can you maybe talk about, Coach? Can you maybe talk about what it was like here at halftime? You know, walking out there, and you felt the reception of the crowd. You felt the warmth, and how good it was to have you back. And you know, your decision to come back, because it wasn't an easy one.
Yeah. Well, it's a special time for me, obviously, and I had a little bit of a tough time getting to it. You know, Trev has been really relentless at inviting me back, and so that is That's been important, and I really felt welcome at this moment. You know, Coach Rhule, he and I have texted back and forth a little bit, and we've been on the phone a little bit, and I know Coach Osborne thought it would be good for me and for everybody associated with the game here to maybe come back, and you know, and so when you add all that up, it just kind of made sense for me to do it, and I'm really glad that I did.
And I know you've had a chance to connect with former players. You had an event last night, but also some of your former Southeast players when you coached here in high school before coming here as the running backs coach.
Yeah, you know, I've run into some guys from Holy Name here where I coached high school ball, and Southeast
number 77.
Southeast, we had a group of players that I got together with while here in town this week. We went out and had dinner, and so you know, it's all been good.
Yeah.
Coach, you know, you said you wanted to watch football, but, you know, if you have gotten a chance, you know, just to be around this team, Coach Rhule talks about brotherhood. He talks a lot about how this team is going to come together and come around. You know, how does that, from a head coach perspective, help your team when you talk about just a brotherhood?
Yeah, you know, you hear the word culture a lot in the sport, but there is something to it, you know. Developing a togetherness, a brotherhood, developing a culture in a program that is going to be meaningful to all, not just you as your staff, but it's going to be meaningful to the players, and it's going to just spread, and it's going to allow you to, I think, be the best you can be on the field with your players, and then also it's going to allow you to recruit well, and I think those are all things that are really ahead for Nebraska that are going to be positives.
You've been away from the game almost about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. How has that been like for you, the transition of being away from coaching?
It's not been fun. You know, I'm struggling with retirement a little bit. I love the game. And, you know, I love the competition involved in it, and I love being around players and coaches, and all that's kind of gone now, you know. But in any case, I sit at home and watch a lot of TV on Saturday, and, you know, I'm making all kind of good decisions on Saturday from the couch. Gotcha. But you know, I'll get a chance to get back here to see some games. I get to some of Boise State's games, and I get back to see Coach Albin and his Ohio Bobcats and their games, you know. So I'm doing some traveling, seeing a lot of football.
Tell me what that moment was like early in the game, kind of the nod to old number 45, opening play. They brought the football. Talk about that.
Yeah, you know, Coach told me that they were going to start using a fullback here, which I don't know that they've done that for a long time, you know. But yeah, the first play he ran was really a fullback belly off trap play, and I think it picked up about 8 yards or so, you know. So it was a great start, and then Coach took the time to walk the ball over to me, you know. Yeah. So it was a great moment for me.
It must be great being back, Coach.
Yeah, it really is. Just renewed so many friendships, and you know, there's a lot of great people here in the state. Obviously, you know, you have the sellout record continuing to go on, and that's because the fans are so supportive of the university and of the sport of football here, and so it's good to be around it again, and it's kind of brought back some enthusiasm to me.
Coach, I know that spring football is not the real Husker game day, you know, but like I know you said you're going to come back in the fall. What was your favorite part of Husker game day when you were here as a player or as a head coach? I mean, you got to experience so many games. You know, what was your favorite part?
Well, usually was when it ended and we were on the winning side, you know. But I just enjoyed the camaraderie, and you know, we used the word brotherhood here earlier, that develops amongst players and amongst coaches, you know, and I think that's one of the most important parts of the game, you know, that brotherhood can kind of keep going long after your playing days, as you well know, you know, and you get a continual chance of hearing from players that you played with, that you know, you were part of coaching, and so it's it's a great profession, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
One of the announcements that was made here at halftime is the new locker room in the brand new facility is going to be named the Frank Solich locker room. Talk about that.
Well, I think that's great, and I think that's for me appropriate to have it
the locker room.
My name on a locker room. Actually, when I got the head job, I tried to get one right away for our players. Didn't get it done, so it's kind of, I got it done now with a name on it. So no, that's great.
I think, one of the plays you will always be associated with was Black Flash 41 reverse pass, right? Against Oklahoma when you outcoached Bob Stoops in that win, in the win here at Memorial.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I outcoached Bob Stoops. He's a great coach and a great friend.
Yeah. Talk about that and what memories you have, from those days in that great run to the Rose Bowl that you had as well. And
yeah, we really had a very good football team, and we knew it was going to be a close, tight ball game, and so we had a few tricks up our sleeve, and the timing of that one just worked out perfectly. We had just gotten the first down, and ran the play. We knew we had a chance because it seemed to be set up, and anytime you get the ball in Eric Crouch's hands, you're going to have a shot, and whether he's carrying it from the quarterback or taking it from a handoff on a reverse, or whether he receives a pass like in that one. So it worked well and gave us enough momentum to go on and win that game.
Let's take a look at the play. Let's go back. Oklahoma tried to run it earlier in the game.
Yeah.
They didn't execute, and this was perfectly executed.
Yeah.
As loud as I've heard Memorial Stadium, right?
Yeah. That was great. I love Eric. That team was a great football team. A lot of really great players on it. But, Eric Crouch symbolizes what Nebraska football is about. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's among the toughest. And, I was really amazed at how tough he was in running the football in the option game, which is so important to Nebraska football back in those days.
Take you back to a memory that's not so great. So when I was doing your coach's show, right, the Frank Solich show, we came back after the trip to Texas, and we were doing the show, and we were watching the video and replay, and you saw Kwame Brown grab the back of Mike Brown's jersey. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you pounded that desk about as hard, and your bottom lip started quivering. You remember, that's one of those you don't forget, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of plays you don't forget. Some of them positive, some of them not positive, but that's definitely one of them.
No, it's been great having you back, Coach.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Great seeing you again. Welcome back to Nebraska.
Yeah, thank you guys, and best wishes to everybody in Nebraska, and I really look forward to being to some games. So,
Thanks. Thanks, Frank.
All right,
great to
thank
see
you guys. Appreciate it.
Coach, looking forward to seeing you in the fall.
Buddy. Thank you. Okay.
There has been kind of this collective pit in the stomach, if you will, of Nebraska football, Nebraska fans, the fan base, and to see Frank back here feels like the balance has been restored a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone that I have yet to hear someone tell me a negative thing about Coach Solich. They just love him here in this state. And I'm so excited that Trev was able to get him back here, and the integral role that Coach Rhule played in getting him back here, I think is extremely important, because you talk about brotherhood and you talk about as a player, it extends to the coaching family. It extends to, it's a special and hard thing to be a head coach of Nebraska football. It's a very small group of guys that were able to wear the head ball coach on their head, and he's one of them that can install advice. He's one that can install, hey, make sure you stay away from this, or make sure you talk about this in the media, and all those things, because Nebraska football is its own ecosystem.
Ball on the ground again. It's still loose. Picked up and recovered by the Red.
Another.
Let's take you back to pregame, and here is Coach Solich coming out onto the field. There is Nebraska Director of Athletics Trev Alberts with Coach Solich. Had a big role in getting Frank back here to Memorial Stadium in front of the fans. Yeah, it was a great halftime ceremony, and I'm sure if you've seen it at home, number 45 on the 45-yard line, which is, of course, Frank's old number when he was a fullback. Should have asked him about wearing those ankle
ankle weights.
He doesn't always like to talk about that, or at least he didn't used to like to talk about it.
Yep, you know, I mean, it's such a foreign thing to think about now. Like, hey, you're just not heavy enough, right? Like now you're seeing guys like Eric Gilbert, who's 280 pounds playing tight end, and you got Jacob Hood, who's 330 pounds. Like those guys just didn't exist back when Coach was playing.
Ball on the ground again, and another turnover. Recovered by the White, so back-to-back turnovers, and you know this will be a focus of the post-game, of the offseason, and of fall camp.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that you're getting a little bit of a rotation centers here, right? You're getting different centers with different quarterbacks. We're doing some shuffling along the offensive line there. You know, that was Keegan Menning there in center position. He's more of a guard, but he's having to play center because Ben Scott's still kind of dealing with a little bit of a lingering injury. So that's to be expected, but it's also, it's not up to standard. And Coach Rhule's going to let everyone know that's not up to the standard of which we can play football. Harburg looks like he's getting the nod to come back in with this White offense here. Ben Hart, Lutovsky, Ben Scott, Ethan Piper. Looks like Turner Corcoran may be back in there at left tackle. So good. Oh, no, that's Nuri. Nuri's over there at left tackle. So that's kind of the one offensive line with the new inside guy there, and Henry Lutovsky, who they're pretty excited about.
Harburg hands it off. Here is Grant again, leans forward.
Almost fumbled the snap there too, Larry. Good hard run off the outside. That's one thing you know you're going to get with Grant. He's going to put his foot in the ground. He's going to get north and south, and he's going to finish the ball going forward. He proved it time and time again. Almost a 1,000-yard rusher for the Huskers last year. He's going to be a big bell cow. And again, I don't think we can state it enough of how excited we are about this running back room for the Huskers. You know, you talk A.J. Allen, young player, Gabe Irvin, young player, Anthony Grant, an experienced player, Ramir Johnson, experienced player. Any of those guys could go multiple places in the Big Ten and start tomorrow, and you've got 4 of them in your running back room.
Out into the flat and incomplete.
Talked about Harburg developing a little bit more of a passer. You know, these are things he was known for a passer, but, you know, he's changed his mechanics a little bit. He's gained a little bit of weight and the muscle. You know, he just needs to get a better feel for timing. You know, so much of quarterback play is timing, understanding the routes, understanding when the ball needs to be delivered. You know, making sure you don't hold on to the ball too much in this league. You're letting those edge rushers get after you, and those just come with time. But, you know, you just can't coach his athleticism. You got to find a way with that guy with that type of athleticism, get him on the field in special packages, even if he's not the starting quarterback.
Put on the ground again. Harburg picks it up. Made some positive yardage out of the drop snap and brings up now 4th down and short for the White.
You got to go for it here.
We'll see if they get the snap off.
3rd quarter winding down here. This might be another one of those situational. Try and steal a hard count here. See if you can't get one of the defensive linemen to jump. This is where you yell the sideline, earmuffs, earmuffs, don't listen to the cadence.
Right. Low snap again, give to Johnson. He has enough for the 1st down, and that's where we will end quarter number 3. 21-7 the score. It has been a day about honoring the greats. Frank Solich at halftime here in Lincoln. Spring football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by the USFL. The USFL season continues tonight at 7 Eastern, only on Fox. So a great atmosphere here today at Memorial Stadium for the 2023 version of the annual Red-White scrimmage. And it did, today at least, look like a scrimmage. Matt Rhule, one of the so many goals that he had coming into this spring.
Nope, balled out.
They're going to say
forward progress.
Forward progress, yep.
On the field is the
and Betts' head hit the turf hard, and he is slow to get up as Xavier Betts being looked at now there.
Oh, you can see his head slam into the turf.
Day probably done for Xavier Betts as he came up quite woozy still. Here's a look at the file on Matt Rhule. Talked about his Baylor and Temple days. Temple's only had 3 10-win seasons. 2 of those were under Matt Rhule. 11-3 and 19 with Baylor.
He talked about what he was able to do with those programs when he inherited them. I mean, he talked about how this program is in much better shape than those programs he inherited. You know, he's like, you got to trust the process. You know, that was the last part of his 3 spring that we wanted to touch on, you know, is just trusting our process. You know, his process is, you know, he went, I think it was 1-11, 2-10, and then 11-win season. He did that multiple times over a career. He did it at Baylor, he did it at Temple. You know, I'm not here saying we're going to win 1 game next year by any means. I think we have enough talent to do more than that. But, you know, he understands the process. He understands it's not something that's built overnight, but he really just going to keep hammering home his process because it's a proven process. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. He just wants to stick with it and just keep going.
Anthony Grant hit the hole hard there and picked up a first down.
No, the other thing about Coach Rhule that we learned here is he's a ping pong champion.
How about that?
He said that he is just running the tables there. And, you know, I loved it. We said, Coach, why ping pong? Like, because he has ping pong tables in there. He goes, it forces you to set your phone down and build a connection with someone else. He goes, he said he's got guys challenging him from the janitorial staff, from the cooking staff, you know, and he said that he's been able to go through it and just continue to go. And that Purdy's actually the one that was able to beat him on the ping pong table.
Well, what kind of day did he have yesterday? How about this day? You know, you get up in the morning, you have lunch with the Solich family, you have an event where the moms tackle the sons, and a dinner with the players, the social last night with Solich, and then, you know, you see the Heisman Trophy winners, picture with Tom Osborne, Frank Solich, Barry Alvarez, former Wisconsin coach and athletic director, was back. He was a former player and coach here at Nebraska. That is a day. I
think Coach Rhule is also just so humbled that he has the opportunity to coach at a school like this. You know, he mentioned that, you know, he kind of pinches himself every day that he wakes up, and he knows that, like, he has a big tradition program that he is in charge of, and he takes great pride in that. And it's those type of events and those type of days that are why he took this job, right? Why he was able to not want to coach, to all of a sudden having an opportunity to coach at a place like this, and why it was so enticing, and why Coach Alberts was able to fly him in here under the radar and have him experience that Lincoln Day where no one knew he was here. That's right. And he just fell in love with this place all over again, which is very much why we have the recruits come in, because you think Lincoln's a one-stoplight town. It's not. It's one of the coolest places in the country.
There is Grant again. Tries to cut it up. Good job defensively. Yeah, he has talked repeatedly about how much he likes this situation. He likes this school. He likes this town. It was right for his family. And you know, if you think holistically, the Big Ten Conference needs Nebraska to be good. They're one of the blue bloods in college football, and the better Nebraska is, the better the Big Ten Conference is.
Absolutely, you know, and we're so close, and I hate saying that because, you know, we've heard it for multiple years, but with the new facility bringing it in, you know, with the ability to bring in, you're seeing big recruits showing up here on campus. You know, it's only going to take a couple big recruits to commit before the waterfall kind of starts coming down here. You know, and he knows that too. Oh, good job.
Good play, good stick out of the corner.
Gage Sturgeon there, that was a big hit. Let's watch here. Ramir Johnson chips his way out of here. He's going empty. He chips here. This linebacker, he runs it all the way. Gage runs all the way across the ball, gets there, perfect form tackle, wraps up, drives him into the dirt. Great defensive play there by Gage.
Looked to be open there for a moment on 4th down, but Stanger closed it up.
Get back, coaches.
Not much there on the handoff.
Emma Johnson, young back that's got a lot of promise in an already crowded room. You just keep adding depth to that room.
I want to remind you, coming up next on the Big Ten Network, it's spring football for the Wisconsin Badgers. Luke Fickell's Badgers in action at Camp Randall next, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
It's going to be interesting what Wisconsin looks like this year. It's not going to be the Wisconsin that we are used to seeing by any means. Luke Fickell up there bringing the spread back a little bit.
Gained about 6 yards on the carry.
Elliott Brown with the nice end around there. Same thing you saw with Billy Kemp earlier in the third quarter, going back the other way. Again, this is just keeping the defense honest, respecting the edges, making sure those DNs have something to think about. They're not just rushing up the field or closing down on the outside tackle or tight end. Got to keep contained.
5 wide, Purdy in the gun. On 3rd down and 3. And nothing there.
They bring 4
to Wallen with the play.
They bring 4 to a side there. If you look over the right side of the offensive line there, it's an empty set. They bring 4 guys. There are 3 guys off the edge there, and you can't block all of them. You know, so that's going to be, again, you bring empty, you send 6. You're telling the quarterback he's got to have answers. If they don't have answers, sacks and negative plays.
That'll bring up 4th down. Alex Bullock is back to receive for the red team. Ryan Buschini in there as personnel comes in late.
Oh, no,
there's a fake. Buschini, can he slip through? No, he cannot. What a play. Kai Wallen again makes back-to-back plays. Buschini had 1 man to miss, but he didn't.
Not a quite shake and bake there in those legs. He's kind of juking nobody there, but you know, I love the aggressive nature of Coach Rhule here, trying to make something happen for his team. And you know, Buschini's not a terrible athlete. He can get out in space and make something happen, but you're not going to ask him to make a defensive end miss.
Buschini gave it a shot, came up short, thanks to Wallen. Now, Nebraska next year opens the season against a couple of Power 5s, and both are on the road. We'll take a look at the schedule here in just a moment. Back in there at quarterback is Jeff Sims. Sims looks downfield. Rolls to his right, incomplete. Open up at Minnesota. We had their spring game earlier today, Colorado, and Deion Sanders. So 2 Power 5s on the road to open it up before coming back home for 3 straight, including Michigan here at Memorial Stadium.
Thursday night football as well. I mean, you look at that towards the back end. Our Novembers are always pretty tough. You know, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa. You always finish with kind of 3 big teams there, and Maryland too, who's coming up on a program. You know, it's never an easy schedule in the Big Ten. There's not. I mean, right. Purdue last year had a fantastic year. Northwestern they won 1 game last year, which means they'll probably win 9 this year, just the way that they usually go. Right. So, you know, really going to see and test early for this team.
Pump fake for Sims. Washington wanted the flag, will not get it as they took a shot into the end zone.
It's a good thought. This is a good pump fake here, but he's got to put this ball further back. You know, when you want to almost overthrow this ball more than anything, give your receiver a chance. If you underthrow this football, you know, he has to try and go through the defender to go back and get this. You know, you want to put this up so Marcus Washington can go up and high point it there towards the back pylon a little bit more. So just a little bit more of an accuracy theme there for Sims.
3rd down and 10. Sims with time. Out into the flat. Complete to Borkercher.
Good game tackling there.
Much there.
See 3 really Husker black shirts running over there to make the play. You know, that's big. Gang tackling is huge. Got to make sure if the first guy misses, there's got to be 2 or 3 guys right there. You see they vice him up right there. Make sure he's not going anywhere. 4th down.
They're going to try another field goal, waiting for personnel here on the field. Seen a little bit of that this afternoon as well. So Blinkerode on to kick or try a 43-yarder. Blinkerode is going to be left. Well, you know, the next event that's going to be held here at Memorial Stadium is going to be Nebraska volleyball. How about that? The volleyball players were here before the game signing autographs.
There you go.
One of the top programs, not only in the Big Ten Conference, but also in the country. And they're going to try to break Wisconsin's attendance record right here at Memorial Stadium. They're going to put the floor out at about the 20 or the 30-yard line. And they're expecting maybe 40,000.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of goes back to, bringing Coach Rhule. We talked about the Husker Olympics, and we want to touch a little bit more on that. They assigned teams right away when Matt Rhule got here. And the teams were supposed to be their competition teams, but they weren't just competition in the weight room. It was about getting out in the community, going to the tennis matches, going to the volleyball matches, going to the soccer players, gymnastics, all those things. It was about attendance. And his main goal was to bring the whole athletic community together. So that was a big point of emphasis for him.
Let's go to the field with Megan.
Jeff Sims with me right now. We are talking as the quarterback has come off the field, a transfer from Georgia Tech. How would you assess your first performance in front of these fans at Lincoln Memorial?
I feel like it was pretty good. I mean, it's some things that I can clean up also, but we did some good things on offense, and I mean, it's just every moment from now is a step forward.
You're from the state of Florida. We were talking about how cold it is out here. How do you have to adjust to that type of element as a quarterback?
I mean, it's just going out there and working at it. I mean, Coach, he has us out there every day in the cold, so it's kind of helping us get used to it. And at the end of the day, you just got to go out there and play. You can't think about it.
You play a lot of games in the ACC. What made Lincoln, Nebraska an attractive option for you to come transfer and play here?
So I came on my visit, and it was far better than what I expected. The facilities, the town, the fans, the people, it was just overall good feel. The city of Lincoln is very peaceful. And that was something that really attracted me to this place.
I promise it does get warmer as the months go on into the summer. So thank you so much for the time. Looking forward to seeing you this season. Guys.
Thanks, Megan, very much. Conversation there with Jeff Sims.
I think regardless of who the starting quarterback is, Casey Thompson, Jeff Sims, Purdy, whoever, I think Sims is going to play a role on this football team. He's going to be a guy that's going to play a lot of meaningful snaps, whether he's the backup or not, just because you don't bring a talent in like that to not play.
Right. Incomplete from Torres as he targets Cooper Houseman.
Torres is going to be interesting for me to follow, Larry. He's a guy that's completely different. If you put these 5 quarterbacks in the room together, you point out who's the outlier, who's different than the rest of them. Torres is different because he doesn't bring really that mobility piece to it. He might have the best arm as far as a pocket passer, but he just brings a completely different element. And it's kind of, you can see a little bit how the play calling changes with him. You don't see as much as the zone reads and the RPOs, more just kind of called handoffs and called passes.
Over the middle, complete to John Goodwin, who pulls it in. Goodwin, a gain of 6 yards. That's going to bring up 4th. Goodwin from right here in Lincoln High School. It'll be interesting to get Coach Rhule's perspective on today. Step forward, step backward. Do they feel like the turnovers were a big enough issue to feel like they're not making progress? But each one of these gets them a little closer to where they want to be in the fall. So much, though, to put in for this new staff.
Yeah, and we have to understand, too, this is the spring game, but this is far from the polished product. This is far from, half of this spring ball was just installing what the base offense and base defense was going to be. You compare and contrast this spring game to what we've seen with Coach Frost, what we've seen with Pelini or Mike Riley. You start getting used to it where they're just reinstalling. Like they're reinstalling the offense and stuff, not brand new. So there's as much mental gymnastics going on out here as much as there is the physical actually act of playing a football game.
Well, they will transition quickly out of spring into summer conditioning. And to your point, what they have changed and done in conditioning is as much about what they're doing outside of the weight room to create mobility as it is in the weight room in strength and conditioning.
Also the nutrition. Right. Coach Rhule talked about it. I think they said they have 8 nutritionists on staff that are just full-time football of making sure, it's not just it's not just the pregame meals anymore. No, it's snacks throughout the week. It's making sure you're getting enough protein. It's making sure each guy has their own tailored nutrition program, because being a high performance athlete, you have to eat at a high performance. That's something, you know, talking with former athletes that when I played, you know, just the other night I was talking with a couple buddies that played in the MLB, and they were saying, you know, I just wish we knew then what we knew now. You know, just the nutrition has come such a long way in just a decade of since I was here. You know, it's just something that's going to continue to help these guys of getting their bodies right, injury prevention, and all of that.
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute 20 seconds. It'll start on the snap. 1:20. Thank you.
Really nice defensive play there, getting his hand out there and sticking the ball. Again, that's Grant Buddha there, making sure that he has a chance to show his length and his range there, being able to get a nice pass breakup, because that was going to be a completed pass if he didn't get his hand on that.
Fourth down and 12 here with 1:20 remaining. Torres to his right, has a man, incomplete. Had an opportunity. Field, it looked like
you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would be remiss if I have not stated I feel like the protection today has actually been very, very good. You know, talking about coming in last year, the narrative being that the offensive line wasn't the greatest or that we had problems. I think that technique-wise, watching the way, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say I'm slightly biased being a Husker offensive lineman, but, you know, I see what Coach Rhule has done with this group and why he was retained on staff to help, and why this group really fights for him. You're seeing better hand placement. I'm seeing better sets. I'm seeing these guys run off the ball. You know, coaches talked about it. The O-line's been a bright spot in the spring. I think that's only going to continue to develop with Coach Campbell in the offseason as they continue to get their bodies right. And hopefully this can be a strength of the Husker offense going into the fall.
How about you? Does this remind you of your spring game days?
Not as much. By this time, hopefully my spring game days, I was done. I mean, there's starting offensive linemen still out there. That just goes, I mean, the spring game's a little different. I was talking, you know, a decade ago in the 2013 spring game is when I actually proposed to my wife down there on the end, and here I am a decade later in the booth, super excited. Thanks to Big Ten Network for having me up here. It's been an absolute blast.
That was 10 years ago this week, huh?
Crazy. I got 3 kids figuring out life.
Run out of bounds and a nice scramble there by Chubba Purdy.
Again, Rhule talks about it. How do you move the chains? Scramble. Everyone's picked up. Again, another great pickup there by A.J. Allen, the running back, and just the ability to go through. Shakes off the tackle there, shakes off another tackle, and it shows some strength. You know, he's a strong player too. His brother obviously having a ton of success in the NFL right now, and he'd like to follow that.
Purdy flipping over here and playing with this white offense now.
They're keeping us on our toes, Larry.
He switched jerseys, didn't he? Double with the white. There is Chubb on 2nd and 1.
Oh boy.
Scrambles out again. Nearly picked off as he throws it into traffic. Also impressed a little bit with the, you know, the 3-3-5. I think you can see where it would be difficult to prep for this in a week, especially if it's not a defense you're consistently seeing throughout the year.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, a guy we haven't talked about who just had that pass breakup, Tommy Hill there. He's a guy that played snaps for us last year. You know, we've talked a lot about the front, but this DB group is a thing that is very deep. You got Miles Farmer, Malcolm Hartzog, Quentin Newsome, Tommy Hill. I mean, if you're going to have a 3-3-5 defense and have 5 DBs, you got to have guys that can cover. More importantly, you got to have guys that are not just able to, but willing to go up there and tackle.
A.J. Allen with the carry, who has also flipped to a white jersey now. Inside the 30, down to about the 28-yard line. And a player down the field. Is that Elijah Judy? We want to remind you, coming up next, the Badgers and new head coach Luke Fickell are in action at Camp Randall Stadium. That is coming up next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
Not what you want with 47 seconds left here in the fourth. At this point, let's get out of here healthier. I mean, we already lost Turner on an injury. You want to make sure no one else gets dinged. And, you know, these are just things you got put together a great spring, getting ready to go into summer conditioning. You know, this can be something that can set you back. So hopefully nothing too bad here. Hopefully Betts' head's going to be okay. You know, all those things. But, you know, overall, Larry, impressions of this game for me, I was really impressed with the way the one offense was able to come out and execute at times. You know, I think that the one defense, you see the one, and the ones are truly kind of separate from the twos right now, right? And that's to be expected a little bit.
Well, here was the pregame as the new Herbie Husker was introduced to this Memorial Stadium crowd.
Maybe the loudest cheer of the day.
It might be. Yep. The blonde hair, blue eyes are back.
And the corn cob overalls.
Had a pretty good ride as well. Complete right at the yard marker. That's going to be enough for a first down at about the 18. Bonner, the tight end, with the grab.
Situational football here, 30 seconds left, trying to go score a touchdown. Clock management, making sure you survive, don't take a sack.
Into the flat. Borkricher.
He's had a nice quiet day. You know, he's made some good catches. He had the long catch over the middle earlier. He's going to be a guy that's going to be in the rotation there. I think we feel really good about 3 tight ends for this Husker offense right now.
Purdy tries to get out of the grass, not going to get away. And he's pulled down.
Timeout offense, 30 seconds.
They're switching numbers on us here. I don't think that's
Brody Tagaloa there.
There you go.
He found the way. Yeah, they're switching white and red rosters on us here. 3 seconds left.
3 seconds to put in the end zone. This is kind of that situational football that Matt Rhule was hoping to see. Can we get in the end zone? 3 seconds, a play to go. Can you make a play?
I would expect pressure here from Tony White. You know, he's been doing it all day. I would expect him to send some pressure here, try and make sure this quarterback make a quick decision. Maybe not. Looks like they're going to go picket fence on the back end there. You can see this is the perfect 3-3-5 picture. 3-3-5 with that nice shell look right there.
Purdy over the middle. Picks off. And that will end it on the pick by Stanger. Had a nice showing there late in that fourth quarter. So the first spring game of the Matt Rhule era is in the books. A lot of work to do before fall rolls around, but good to get out of the field in front of this hometown crowd.
Absolutely. You know, we got to see the first look at Jeff Sims, a guy that's going to be a big piece here. We got to see the running back room as advertised. Be really fun to follow that along, see who emerges as that number one. You know, big thing, getting some O-linemen in here healthy. I bet you hit the portal for a couple O-linemen, hit the portal for a couple D-linemen. That's just part of what college football is. Just want to make sure that we continue to build depth there. But overall, successful first outing for Coach Rhule and the Huskers of the 2023 season.
Well, that'll do it for Memorial Stadium for the spring game. Coming up next on the Big Ten Network, more spring football action comes your way. The Wisconsin spring game is ahead. Our producer, Denny Blunt, our director, Pat O'Connor, for Jeremiah Searles, Megan McEwen, and our entire broadcast crew, I'm Larry Putney. Thanks for watching, and so long from Lincoln. The 2023 spring game in the books.